All right, thanks everybody for coming in to see if you're gonna die, if RuneScape's gonna die. I'm just gonna start this off with no, the warding pole failing is not gonna kill RuneScape, because I mean, it's gonna be exactly as it is right now. So if you're worried about that, don't worry. That's it. That's all you need to hear. That's all you need to hear. Click off now. But for people who are interested in what the warding pole failing means for RuneScape, all I can say is I don't think we're gonna see another skill pull for maybe a while, maybe like a year, because I know the mods talk about like how important it is to flesh out a skill before they show it, which means somebody, maybe multiple people, probably put a lot of work into it, and a lot of work for, I think it's been 3 times in a row, count them, artisan, sailing, warding, yeah, 3. I think that's the right order too. Since they've been putting a lot of work into that, which I'm sure it was kind of one of their tap projects for their Fridays, where they get to pick a specific thing that they want to do to maybe see in the game or to just work on. So it would have probably been like a personal project, I'd assume, but you know, can't be sure. Maybe there was this big team, like content developer team working on it, maybe. But seeing that, I don't think another skill is going to be pulled for a pretty long time. But the implications of warding not being in the game, I think we're going to see probably some more rewards that are non-warding that are going to be supposed to kind of fill the same role, where you dissolve items, and probably we're going to have lower level wizard stuff to hopefully flesh out the combat triangle. But the only problem with that is I feel people wouldn't vote for that, since everybody either says, I want best in slot content or no content at all, which is really weird, since people were... It kind of comes down to the thing with Konar, right? People like me, you know, high level 2K plus people were complaining like, oh, this is horrible. Every once in a while I maybe get a drop that's like 150k, but people like level 70s 80s are like, dude, I can't boss yet. That's pretty freaking sick. So I feel like there's a disconnect between what's good for the game and what people want. I'm not saying if you voted no to warding, you don't want what's good for the game, but I do think that they can still achieve the same effects of warding, like item sinks and stuff, and lower level mage armors. I still think they can do that without putting the warding skill in. Time will tell what they do. Maybe something similar to like the Abyssal Tentacle, kind of being charged with whips and stuff like that. I don't know if that's the route they'll go, with like higher level armors and stuff like bandos. That might be kind of weird, but who knows, they could do that. So the other thing from warding is, well, maybe, well, some rune pouches. They kind of solve that by giving that to the Slayer Masters, you know, as it should have been. It's so weird seeing when that came out, the rune pouches being in the PKing section, the bounty hunter. Like, I mean, I get it, but it seems a little more useful in the Slayer section. That's been corrected, so I can't say anything about that. But the thing that I'm most worried about is just dissolving, because I can't see them putting an interesting item sync out there for every single item, because, you know, essentially that's what it would have done. Maybe there would have been metas for dissolving stuff, like say this item gives a lot of materials in return, and maybe it wouldn't even have worked. Who knows? But I do think that it is important to try to worry about the health of the game. I'm not saying that warding would have been the fix-all, but I think it could have been a step in the right direction. The thing is, more and more people are getting higher total levels, and they're completely not even worried about the intro level stuff towards the game. But seeing as maybe a lot more people from mobile are going to stick around, And if you do want them to stick around, it's better to have lower level content. I know Sarachnis in the new Farthos dungeon's a pretty good step since that's a lower level boss, but the only other bad thing is that high levels with their scythes are dominating it, so it doesn't really matter. Those poor low level guys. I would like to see more lower level bosses to kind of help with the low level range something, or sorry, low level mage. Range doesn't need anything right now. But yeah, seeing as warding didn't pass already, I would like to see something to help maybe bring those armors into the game from bosses, from new activities, from new something or another. Because yeah, again, I'm just scared that people will say that they don't want it because it's not better than frickin' Arceus armor. I can't, the name escapes me, but that armor, the best one, the one that everybody wears, because Zorishan? No. I look like a fool, but no. So, seeing that, kind of sad that warding didn't pass, but, you know, whatever. There's other opportunities. Maybe we're gonna get Sailing too. Maybe we're gonna get Slayer too. Maybe we'll get Rune Crafting too. Who knows? I guess that is the main problem that people, you know, speaking of crafting too, I think that's the main problem that people had with it, is that it seemed a little too similar to crafting. People said, you know, they didn't want a bank standing skill. I kind of agree. I would assume that's a big part of why people voted no. Because bank standing is kind of boring, and adding another skill that the best way to train it to 99 is sitting in front of a bank with your freaking auto hotkeys just sitting in your DX Racer gamer chair with your 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. That's kind of boring. People want a skill that's interesting to train, Slayer. People want a skill that's fun to train, Slayer. And people want a skill that rewards you with money, Slayer. So, and I think this is real this time. The last thing I have to talk about is people voting no out of malice. I know there was a huge problem with sorry, let me preface this with I've heard about people, max people, saying that they didn't want to vote yes to warding for the sole reason of they didn't want to lose their max cape. And I think that's a little bit out of the spirit of the game. If you've already grinded, I think it's freaking 26 skills to 99, isn't that the point of playing the game if you're already maxed and everything, just grinding more skills? Because I know a lot of people go for pets after they get all their 99s. And that seems a little bogus, but there is a parallel with RuneScape 3, because I have a friend who plays a lot of RuneScape 3, and it's whenever new content was introduced to RuneScape 3, they had a cape of completion that was called the completionist cape. Sorry, escape achievement? Yeah, called the completionist cape. And how to trim it is to have literally like every single activity in the game done. So like Castle Wars, getting all the friggin' armors and stuff for that. So it's pretty brutal. But the reason a lot of content got vetoed by people is because there's a large portion of the game that does have those completionist capes, and it was mostly just about them not wanting to get their cape back. So I do think that the argument that max cape people were voting no does hold a little bit of water, even if it wasn't a lot of max people. Because I'm sure it's a pretty big split where people are like, I don't want to do any more skills ever again, or people are saying, I'd love to do a new skill, give me literally anything. But yeah, I believe RuneScape 3 had kind of a problem with that, where completionist people did not want to vote for anything. They just wanted to get their money makers and the only new content they wanted was something that would benefit them and not count towards the completionist cape. And you know, seeing that kind of blows, hoping people weren't doing that. I know a lot of people were voting yes and no out of spite, and that's kind of stupid too, because even if people you disagree with really, really, really want the same thing you do, it's kind of stupid. It's kind of, you are the brainlet. But I think that's the only real gripes I have with warding. Upset it didn't pass, but I understand the flaws that it had. I would have liked it, but there were, you know, there were a lot of flaws. Maybe bank standing perks, or skills. Maybe bank standing skills are better left off to the garbage that we inherited from RuneScape Classic. So, until next time, see you everybody.